At Coworking Plus, we are introducing a lot of companies to new technologies, and we are introduced to new technologies. Today, we're going to meet one of the most disruptive companies that I ever met. Welcome to Coworking Talks. Welcome, Jørgen Juul.
Thank you very much.
Co-working is a place for a lot of startups and entrepreneurs. You have started your own company, has really grown it into something fantastic at Cardlay. Tell us about Cardlay.
Tell you about Cardlay. So we have this idea about helping companies because, if you're an employee and you have a lot of transactions in your commercial cards and you want to kind of automate all that, processes around that you make reconciliation, meaning that you put your receipt into your accounting system, etc. We kind of automate that, but directly on top of the infrastructure of the banks, meaning we're helping the employees make their life much easier, and we're helping the administration making their life much easier. But instead of some of our, you can say, competitors, what we're doing is actually helping the banks doing it. So the banks are focused a lot on doing a lot of mobile banking and processes for private people. But what we're doing it for the companies and the employees, and that's kind of a niche.
Yeah.
So we're kind of doing all the front end and all the services for the banks on top of their infrastructure, and by that being a software company for banks.
It's really one of the sectors that we experience that disruptive technologies, new ways of doing things, ways of interacting between banks, companies, and private customers are really changing. All these financial transactions, where is it heading?
Yeah, we see a trend. So now I want to put a picture in your head because I know you like food, right, Johnny? Yeah. So you know what a sea bass is looking like.
Yes.
Yeah. But the new trend is actually the sea bass trend. It's the commercial banking as a service trend.
Yeah.
Put it in your head, sea bass. Just spell a little other, otherwise. But we're seeing that the banks, they simply cannot follow up with the tech companies. They're coming with much more disruptive, faster implementation, better technology, can do better processes, and can actually do it much cheaper and much more agile.
Yeah.
Why? They need to collaborate. So when we started 5 years ago, and we started this strategy kind of defined 4 years ago, we got a lot of talks with all the big banks, etc. But it was difficult to actually to nail the real contracts. Why? Because they were talking about it and saying that, can we do this or not? They were very slow, those incumbent banks. But what we now see is that now they're seeing kind of the light. We need to collaborate with the tech companies. They need to collaborate with companies like Cardlay and the like. And they need to interact with the companies then on the outside for ERP system, financial services, business intelligence and everything. It has to be platforms now interacting.
Yeah. And that's really where we call it disruptive, is that you have new actors in the financial transactions, you have new companies coming in, new technologies, new platforms coming. And that's really just, we say we scrape the surface here because this is really a dramatic change that we have seen just over the last 5 years.
I think that if you look into and this is of course very subjective, it's my opinion, but I think what's going to happen is that you'll see kind of a basic accounting, banking infrastructure opening up and working together with tech companies to service them. I don't really believe that the banks will be able to service their clients in the future. There'll be a branded infrastructure platform that works with multiple fintech, tech service companies that actually service the clients. And I really think that's the trend's coming up.
Yeah, because at the same time you also see more and more strict regulations. You have financial regulations, you have the GDPR rules, you have a lot of, and you see, of course, also the dark side of these things with the crime coming into the financial sector in the sense that people don't rob a bank anymore, they do it digitally.
Yeah.
And all that is really affecting people's trust. How do I do my financial transactions?
Yeah, but you have through the FSA that you have in all countries. You can say in Europe, but actually all over the world, we have a very strong, secured system where you have to be compliant. Meaning, there's no banks that are not fully secured and have their processes.
No.
But you're totally right. They're using, and we're working with some of the big banks now, 90% of their IT resources in staying compliant into their regulations, into their money laundering systems, etc.
Yeah.
So think about it. If you have to spend 90% of all you can do actually for your customers is something they'll never see. You know, you're only working on the bottom of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Everything they see, you don't work on because you simply don't have the resources for it.
Very interesting. We could talk for hours about the financial sector, the regulations, the possibilities, the disruptive technologies coming in. We also hear interviewing you about your journey from starting your company today with lots of people at different offices, just raised a lot of money, got a new chairman and stuff. What has been the most exciting thing about starting and running your own company?
So are you asking Cardlay or kind of, from the platform at start?
Yeah.
So Cardlay has been that I have managed and been lucky and addressed to attract extremely strong-minded people, strong in intellectual property, strong networking people. So I'm kind of humble about me being kind of in the center, trying to interact with a lot of different people that are great in the positions they're in.
Yeah.
So if you look into the our tech stack, I think that we'll have some of the top developers that we have in the country. We'll have the same within design, UX. I work with a chairman that could work in any boards in the world. It's really high level, high intellectual people that challenge me and give me kind of this hunger to take it to the next step.
And I really think that's a very key factor for any company that we also work with here at Coworking, that you need to find talent around you. You need to surround you, you need to interact. You cannot, maybe not hire everyone, but you can at least engage with other people, be inspired by other people, be challenged. Without people around you, you will never develop your own product, your own technology, your own company.
No, but you're so right. And people really have to understand that if they want to grow.
Yeah.
You cannot make a scale up without you being kind of not the most important person. I kind of position myself as the one carrying the flag, but actually doing no work.
Yeah.
I have people around me that are working together with me in this. And to give you an example, if you want to attract people, there's a competition that it's simply out of this world, to get the right people. So you have to be in the 20% of companies that people actually want to work for, because else they won't join you.
No.
Next, you have to get the best of that 20% that are actually moving. So it's kind of a battle of creating something that is so interesting, so has a growth potential. I would say that 90% of the people working in Cardlay have chosen to work in Cardlay. And the people in my board have chosen to work with me about growing Cardlay, because what we're trying to do is not something, we're not trying to make a business where we earn good money and I can buy a new house or a better car. What we're actually trying to do is to change the structure around how you go to market, how you help businesses, how you work and interact with the biggest banks in the world. And that's interesting, isn't it?
And that's what makes you get to work every day, to get excited about, is that you're on a journey. You're constantly changing things and adapting to new surroundings.
Yeah. So what we're doing actually is trying to find all the successes.
Yes.
So for example, right now we're doing a giant project with a giant player in the world.
Okay.
I cannot mention it. But we have put it up into 21 storylines.
Yeah.
And we're celebrating one and are to celebrate that each 14 days. Some will take 3 weeks, some will take 1 week. Yeah. But we have found a way to celebrate, because else, you kind of work, you work into the heaven, and then you work on the next project, and when do you celebrate, and when do you achieve something?
You clearly have had great success with your team and your product, but there must also have been challenges. It must have been times where you were wondering where it is going to end.
So I would say I'll give you two examples.
Yeah.
One is that, and this is also for young entrepreneurs. Yeah. If you have an idea and you think it will take some time, then normally you say you multiply with P, right? 3.14. Yeah. But actually you have to take P in square, meaning that you have to double it one more time. And it's that level that what you foresee and what you plan is always, nearly always, getting a slower start and a slower pace, etc.
It's going to cost you more than you thought.
Yeah. So that's one thing. The other thing is that in the mindset of an entrepreneur today, you have to be ready to pivot. Yep. So I think that if you take top 20 biggest entrepreneurs in Denmark, I have probably worked with 10 of them, or at least 10 of them are in my phone as well, and we interact. Yeah. And every one of them have pivoted. Yeah. So you can't take one out, meaning that you find a way, you test it, you find out it's maybe good, but is it good enough to build a real business? Yeah. No, then you pivot it and you take it to the right, then you take it to the left, then you take it up, then you take it down. And you have to be in that agile mindset the whole time, because else you cannot grow your business. No. Then you'll meet an obstacle, and then if you try to knock through that obstacle and you keep knocking through that obstacle, you fucking die. You'll die of thirst.
So, yeah, we could talk for hours here, because the energy you have, the experience you have, is something that would be very, very useful for all our entrepreneurs. But your elevator pitch for an entrepreneur, a young guy starting his company in the tech sector, what is your elevator pitch for that guy?
Jump into the fucking water.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just do it. Get into the water, start swimming. Yeah. Find out if you can go backward, forward, or whatever. Yeah. Find your path when you're in the water. Yeah. Because everybody wants to plan. They want to build products, and if you don't get into it, you won't experience if you can swim or not.
No, exactly.
And then you find out that you can go to the right, you can go to the left, and suddenly you find solid ground. Yeah. And then you can step out of the water again, and you had the good experience. That's one. Next thing is sell. Sell it before you even think there's a product. Yeah. Start selling. Yeah. Because if you don't sell, you don't have a company. No. You can have the world's best products. We're having in our sector as well. But if you don't sell it, you don't have a business.
And you don't get the feedback.
and you don't get the investors. And that's the second thing. So start selling from when you have it in your mind. Yeah. Try put down a one paper and say that, do you want to pay 100,000 for this? Maybe it's worth $1 million, maybe it's worth 20,000. Yeah. Get out there, test it, sell. Test it. Yeah. And if you can sell it, you find out if you sold it too cheap or too expensive or whatever, but then you make the next sell.
Exactly. Yeah. Jørgen, thank you so much for coming here today, and congratulations on your success, and good luck on the continuous journey. It never ends.
It never ends. It will never end. Well, thank you very much, Johnny.
Thank you, and thank you for listening in. We will have another episode next week at Coworking Talks. Thank you.